So I'm making this video because I'd like to talk about these new movements that have cropped up, and some people who are behind certain action. So we've got Stand Up X and we've got Keep Britain Free. Both of them are linked to the multimillionaire Simon Dolan, who's supposedly fighting the government on our behalf. This Simon Dolan multimillionaire is taking supposedly the government to court over the lockdown. So he's chosen as his barrister Philip Havers. The case is being paid for by the public, who have been crowdfunded to the tune of nearly £250,000. So I think that gives the public the right to full disclosure, don't you? So anyway, the case is ongoing. So the barrister that he's chosen, Philip Havers. The barrister's father is the Lord High Chancellor of the UK. The same barrister's father was on the War Cabinet of the Thatcher government. His father was also involved in covering up paedophile cases. The barrister who was chosen to save us is the son of Lord Michael Havers, the top legal man in the UK when Sir Jimmy Savile and his politician friends were reportedly raping and murdering children throughout the UK. His father also tried to get the Ripper off with a diminished responsibility plea. He also sent the innocent Guildford Four to jail. Lord Havers, who later served briefly as Lord Chancellor, backed the decision of the Director of Public Prosecutions not to prosecute Sir Philip Hayman, who was a diplomat and subscriber to the Paedophile Information Exchange. He was caught sending paedophile literature through the post. This man, his father, intervened 3 times between 1981 and 1983 to stop the investigation and the exposure of establishment paedophiles, and to prevent the publication of stories which showed that establishment figures were members of the Paedophile Information Exchange. Michael Havers was also the top legal man at the time of the Kincora Boys Home child abuse cover-up. He tried to silence the child abuse whistleblower, the MP Geoffrey Dickens, and Havers' sister, so this is the barristers fighting for us as aunt, Baroness Butler Sloss, headed the child abuse inquiry, whose own brother played such a major role in the protection of establishment paedophiles throughout the 90s. She also chaired the inquest into the death of Lady Diana, but she resigned when it was clear that she wasn't going to have full control over the inquest because Dodie's father won the right to a jury. This is the father and the aunt of the barristers fighting for Simon Dolan's case against the government. And his solicitor Francis is counsel for Facebook on electoral issues, and he's also the person who's going to be advising the Tory party campaign. The same multi-millionaire Simon Dolan was given a government contract to supply the NHS with PPE during this period. He owns Jota Aviation. He also has an accountancy firm called Dolan Accountancy, which during the lockdown has hosted articles which are actually praising the government for the speed of their help to small businesses and such. So, you know, it's rather odd that this person is taking the government to court. The fact that if you look again and listen to the Event 201, you will hear that this tabletop exercises that they had in October, just before all of this kicked off, also spoke about having business people not only helping them with PPE, but also helping them to create the storyline of this plandemic. So bear that in mind also. And having outed Mark Steele as a paid operator, the evidence will be in the link below. It's interesting to see how these movements incorporate these known infiltrators. Of course, people who are joining, outraged about coronavirus, I've got no clue at all about the history or the past of these gatekeepers. For those who do attend the protests, it might be interesting to look at the statue on the fourth plinth, which was erected just weeks ago, which basically is a dollop of cream with a cherry on top. And the story behind it is that there's a drone on top of the cherry that's got a camera in it, which can be accessed with smartphones, and people can be watched all the time. But I think it's important to note also that Trafalgar Square was the first place that CCTV cameras were ever used in the UK, and also that the image that you're actually seeing with the fly is significant of genetics, because that was when they first started showing looking into genetics using the Drosophila, which was the fly. So basically what they're saying is genetics and technology are, genetics is the cream and technology is the cherry on top. Another Simon Dolan fan, Anna Breeze, is also ex-BBC journalist who's been getting a lot of airtime lately. Also appears to contradict herself, her claims in her own social media. Yeah, so I actually went along to one of these Stand Up X's demos that they held in Brighton a couple of weeks ago. And to be honest with you, they weren't overly happy about me asking to speak. I had to actually ask them 5 times. They said in the end, yeah, you can if you hurry up and speak. But I do think that the compare was being genuine. I think the other speakers were, obviously none too concerned about what I was actually talking about or whether I got to speak or whatever. Anyway, and what I found was that one of the speakers even refused to take a leaflet off me, which I found was incredible. I couldn't believe it. So what do I think? Well, I think personally that these protests are going to be they're co-opted already by those people leading them, and they're also that when the time comes they will use these protests for whatever point they want, whether it's to blame them people for creating another lockdown and causing a massive social divide. I don't know, but all I know is that for a government to be saying you can't do this, you can't do that, and all these rules and regulations, letting this protest go on, to me, big red flag. Anyway, about the campaign. So let me just quickly mention the leaflet campaign that's now reached over 500 areas around the UK. So people are going out in the communities armed with these leaflets and just talking to people and getting absolutely great responses. They're coming back to the Facebook group and talking about how well received the leaflets are and how much it's helped them to open up a dialogue, and how people actually do believe that something is going on that they're not being told. So it's really working, and anyone wants to get involved in that, you can find us on Facebook or on my website. And the leaflet campaign is transparent, non-profit making, and it actually works. That's the great thing. So those people who've just recently started a leaflet venture, for-profit venture, who are claiming that any leaflet that doesn't go along with their format is more of a hindrance, I suggest you talk to the 500 people who've been out there talking to the community and the thousands of people who have actually been listening, because it actually isn't a hindrance, it works. Okay? Right, thank you for listening. I'm Annie Logical, and I'll speak to you later.